Now, Steve Austin writes a lot in his book about how you helped him starting off. Do you have any memories of Steve Austin's early days in wrestling?
Yeah, man, I think Steve Austin was always going to be a star. Nobody could ever, I think, imagine what kind of star he was going to, how big a star he was going to be. But I do remember Steve being very ambitious. I remember Steve soaking everything in. And you hear that a lot, but what I mean is Steve would watch the matches, every match from start to finish, with the exception of the match he had to work, obviously. But yeah, I remember Steve as being very aware of what he wanted to do. He just had to find that vehicle to get there, and eventually, he obviously did. So I had a lot of fun with Steve, man. We'd go to the gym. We used to. I remember when a friend of ours left and went to Puerto Rico and left us his 1978 Tercel that had no air conditioning, and the radio was crap, and we'd go driving down the road to Evansville or Louisville, Louisville, and with the windows down, our shirts off, Steve's hair blowing in the wind, my hair blowing, sweating, passing people going, yeah, look at us, we're big stars. But yeah, man, Steve was a cool guy back then. He's even cooler now. He's one of those guys that the only thing that changed was his destiny and his superstardom. It never went to his head, even today, I think.
Could you see the potential of him to be a superstar even in those days?
I could see a lot of potential in Steve in those days because he was relentless. He was relentless in the gym. He was relentless in learning. We had a conversation one time going down the road, Steve and Brian Lee, and I don't know what started it, but it came out that we were talking about characters, and at that time he was stunning Steve Austin. And Brian Lee was called Primetime Brian Lee, and I guess there was Primetime Deion Sanders, and that's where Brian said he got the primetime from. And I asked him, I said, what is primetime? What is stunning Steve? Why are you stunning Steve? He's got that long, stringy blonde hair, the red Ric Flair robe, and the biker shorts with white boots. It just didn't ring true as stunning Steve. But he had potential. You saw it there. You couldn't help but see he looked great. He stayed in shape. He had a work ethic too, which was really, really undeniable. He wouldn't ask anybody for money. He wouldn't ask for any help per se on that part. He would. You hear the stories about him buying a bag of potatoes to last him a week. He really did that. Potatoes and rice. We were living at a real shithole called the Congress Inn in Nashville, Tennessee, which if you didn't have a crackhead or crack pipe or syringe, they gave you one when you checked in. You know what I mean? It's that kind of shithole. It's a real crap place, but when we saved money, it was like $50 a week, if that tells you anything. And that's where he lived because he was studying the game. He was a student of the game, and you couldn't help but see the potential. But I don't know that anybody back then would have said he's going to be the megastar he became.